by your CCM. So what does it mean? Do you have sales points where when the lorries come into, because you are saying it is automated, can you demonstrate that this 18 million, for example, Chair, where signages, for example, that are full of 18 million, if they are automated, then they know if it is Moses that was paying for this signage, it is easy to follow up on the payment of such. So the question is, if the system is system proof or there are no leakages, Governor, we should be having we should not be having a drop of 18 million in this note number 7 on advertising, because you know where these people are. So is it the enforcement officers or the people who collect your revenue colluding by pocketing this difference of 18 million? Thank you, Chair.
Senator, maybe Chair, from the receiver of revenue, if they believe that they have tagged or even attached the business permit with the signage, then that can be satisfactory, Chair, because it seems like there is an increase of almost 31 million from the annual business permit fees. So if they have tagged the same, then that is possibly satisfactory.
So instead of dealing with hypothetical situations, let's just deal with the facts. But Senator Legwe, you had an observation on something?
Yes, Chair. On a different issue, I wanted to ask the Governor. I'm surprised Kajiado County is not reporting anything on park fees. And when you turn to page 14 of the Receiver of Revenue report, under note 15, we've seen lodge tariffs and levies, park fees, filming and photography, camping fees, balloon, all reporting zero revenues for the 2 financial years. I don't know, maybe the Governor can tell the committee why that line is reporting zero in the 2 financial years.
Yes,
Chair,
Governor Clark?
With your permission, the revenue potential for Kajiado as per CRA is 6.8 billion.
6.8 billion?
Yes, Chair.
And here we have 1.1 billion.
Yes, Chair.
Actually 1.0. If you remove hospital fees, it's practically 700 million. Governor, on park fees, which is at zero?
Chair, Kajiado County has one national park called Amboseli. As it is now, it is under the national government as gazetted area, protected area, and so it is not under the county. So there will be no possibility of the county collecting park fees.
So even from lodges, there are no lodges within the county where you collect, because there's a sub-description of lodge tariffs and levies.
Fall under different title, but the lodges in the park, being a gazetted area and being a KWS area, is not under us. Probably, Chair, you have had the conversation where the Man Nation petitioned the President on Amboseli, and that petition is progressing well, but it's not happened as yet. So what will be fees will just be like fees coming from other licenses, as we heard of the unified permits, but not anything to do with the current situation or current status of the national park until it become a national reserve or until that historical injustice is corrected. The figures will continue to be zero.
Okay, I think that's been in the public domain. Members, let's come back to Conservancy administration,
but
where there is also a big variance of 30 million.
I think the bed occupancy also, Chair, Governor, is part of the money that you get from the hotels. So that will help to answer the question of 15 parking fees. That is the money that you get from tourism.
The county collects a bed fee?
Yeah, bed
from the,
and that is why they
from the national parks?
Yeah.
So, Governor, why is that not reflected anywhere here?
It's reflected. They have collected 7.5.
Where is it?
It's
under?
Assess.
Under assess?
Yes.
Okay. Senator, you seem to have better explanation than the county executive.
I was a county secretary for 2 counties.
I hope you're not conflicted.
No, Chair.
Bed occupancy come under cess.
Chair, but you have to appreciate that he's the incoming governor, so he must be ahead of himself.
Yeah, so I think that's an important information. Let's come back to Conservancy administration. You collected 64 million. Prior year, you collected 97 million. What is the explanation? Not 12.
Let me ask Director Revenue as I try and peruse this document. Director Revenue, go ahead.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Chair. I think our census is the one that is classified as Conservancy fees, and that's where we had during that financial year we had a lot of drought, and we were unable to collect sand fees. And most of our clients, because of the different charges that we have in Kajiado and Machakos and our neighboring Makueni, they opted to go to the neighboring counties because our finance bill, the figures of payments were a bit higher. So we lost them. At the same time, we had an issue of drought.
So that's the explanation you have under Conservancy administration. Now, Governor,
It doesn't make a lot of meaning. What do you collect exactly under Conservancy administration? How does the stream look like? What do you collect? How do you collect it? What do you collect?
That is sand. Through the chair, we have sand harvested in Kajiado County. So if you look at it as Conservancy, it might be tricky. You might think it's about the parks and everything, but it's sand. Yeah.
the conversation you have had in the last 1 hour, Governor, should prompt you to have a serious review of your revenue management and reporting processes. Because we have started our conversation by trying to establish professional responsibility, and you have seen how the conversation has gone. Figures should, explain themselves. If we have to use so much English to explain why numbers are shifting, then people could be creative with words. I have this feeling, and my colleagues have this feeling, that you are collecting but not reporting. And that is the definition of theft. And I want the Auditor General to ask these questions. I think it's not supposed to be for the Senate to ask these questions and then we get an oral narrative. You need to ask these questions because they are very, very clear variances that must be explained, that must find a way for the explanation to be documented. And I'm going to ask that as you are doing your current audit, please have a critical look at the ROR, because many a times we just brush through the ROR. But this is 1 billion shillings, potentially 6 billion. In fact, if you collected 6 billion, you would not need Nairobi every time when there are delays in exchequer releases. I'm sure you probably may not have even paid your salaries. But you have the capacity to collect 6 billion. But if you're going to collect 6 billion through this porous governance structure that you have, then half of it is going to end up in people's pockets. So I think we will ask the OAG to do a proper, thorough audit on this. And if we find similar doubts in the next report, we will be asking the EACC to conduct an investigation. Because if you collect from people and you pocket, that is theft. OAG.
Chair, that is well noted. On the variance size, I wish to state that we normally have a work paper whereby we always question if there's any big variance from the previous year to the current year, and we normally note it down. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, honorable members, can we?
Chair, can the governor comment on the revenue potentials of Kajiado County? We've heard from the KRA, they're saying 6 billion in one financial year, and the county is only reporting 1 point something billion.
Governor?
May I? Okay.
Do you agree with that figure?
We have heard of that potential. I want to say that under my administration, the revenue, on-source revenue in Kajiado had steadily grew from a mere 250, 400 million to a billion. And therefore, while that potential is allegedly put across, it is important for me to say we are all determined to make sure that we tap into the potential we have. But Senator Elegwe, we have steadily grew from much smaller figures as we try to figure out what is this potential being said. So we want again to commit that we are determined to do whatever it takes to make sure that our own source revenue continue to grow. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, that question, if we could go to your answer, because the Auditor General has queried it under long outstanding revenue. I think it's a substantive issue in this report. So maybe we could look at what your formal response was.
Correct.
But Senator Maruma, you can.
Yeah, I just wanted to question the governor on the status of implementation of the downgrading of Amboseli. Because when I look at the revenue projections by CRA, they could be premised on revenues or projected revenues from Amboseli National Park if it becomes then game reserve. What is the actual status of that downgrading?
I think, Chair, downgrading is probably not the correct word to put. Here we are saying...
reclassification.
Yeah, what we are saying, Chair, is that historically until mid-70s, Amboseli, Mara and Samburu were all national reserves. Through a presidential decree, Amboseli was wrongly classified to be made a national park. What the people of Kajiado are petitioning or petitioned, and is being confirmed to be the correct position, is that Amboseli's status is a national reserve and not a national park. Mara, which is a national game reserve, continued to be the icon of our Kenyan tourism and a key revenue mover, so it will not downgrade. We are determined to make Amboseli what it should rightly be, a third-generation park. A third-generation park is something that considers community livelihoods, the game reserves, and the ecosystem itself. The current position of a national park protects wildlife with total disregards to the communities that are protecting or that are living side by side with this wildlife. So we're just saying it needs to be properly classified, but the status will not be a downgrade in any way.
Where are we? Where are we exactly?
Oh, where we are. In 2024, August, in Masai Mara, the president pronounced himself that this historical injustice need to be corrected. He set in motion through a national task force to look into that petition. The task force, citizen participation confirmed that Amboseli need to revert to a national game reserve. So there has been a lot of stakeholders involved, engagement, but citizen participation. It is now at the tail end. You probably saw, Honorable Senator, that Cabinet confirmed or passed that that status need to be corrected. So we are now waiting for that Cabinet resolution to be implemented and Amboseli correctly positioned or classified. Thank you.
Which I think it's a position that we would support. I mean, I also have Ruma National Park in Homa Bay, which they have Savo, which I would be happy if it was to reclassify to revert to the county, because you have said Masai Mara is run by the county, and yet it is still run very well. So someone should not argue that reclassifying it back to the county would be
downgrade. It's not, yeah.
Okay, so what?
So, Chair, maybe
but beyond that, you have revenue arrears of 11 billion, and I think that's one thing the Auditor General reported on. So, as Senator Cherargei asks his question, we will go to that issue, and you'll tell us what you're doing about it.
Chair, finally, Governor, so how long are you still waiting for the handover of the national park? And I hope, have you agreed on both in case of liabilities, who will shoulder? Because we have seen cases where when there is transfer, the national government might want to transfer assets liabilities. So have you agreed on the issue of liabilities so that you don't inherit something